From Arkansas's streaming news leader, this is THV 11 Morning News at 6.
Good morning and thank you for being with us on THV 11, streaming on your TV with THV 11 Plus. I'm Karen Fuller.
I'm Hayden Balgavy. We want to send it back over to meteorologist Tracy Bean joining us now with look at live radar. Tracy, a couple of rumbles of thunder. I saw a lightning strike or two heading in. I was going, what in the world?
Yeah,
What's going on this morning?
Very localized, often north of the metro and pushing a little bit more to the southeast. So again, keeping that in mind, we're also looking at a flash flood warning that is in effect until 7:15 this morning. Keeping that in mind, we've had some heavier rain that has pushed through, and that has given us anywhere from 2 to even 4 inches of rain in a few areas. But most of that rain has pushed out of this boxed warning area. But again, there's still a lot of water on those roadways, so be careful as you're coming in this morning. And now watching our areas around Stuttgart this morning, again, DeWitt, we're looking at some of that heavier rain pushing into that area as well, and probably waking up to some thunder this morning. Here at 6 a.m. there's probably people getting on the road, so if you are traveling in those areas, and again, where the rain has fallen in that path, there will be some roadways that are a bit treacherous. So take your time this morning. We are starting out at the lower 70s this morning, seeing a whole bunch of 60s. We're going to start to see those temperatures warming up a little bit more as we are heading into the afternoon, looking for a high in central Arkansas of 87, and we could see a few spotty storms later this afternoon. But we'll time everything out and talk about that weather impact alert that I have issued for Saturday, mainly looking to make sure you're prepared. But we'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Tracy. This morning at the state capitol, lawmakers, staff, and state leaders will pay tribute to a longtime colleague and friend.
Senator Gary Stubblefield passed away Tuesday at the age of 74. A memorial now standing outside the Senate chambers in his honor. The conservative Republican from the River Valley fell ill last week.
Stubblefield spent nearly a decade in the state Senate after serving several terms in the House, always pushing for farmers and rural families that he grew up alongside.
I think of a man of steel and velvet, and that's pretty large to have that kind of nomenclature put on you, to be a man of steel and velvet. He was tough, he fought, and he was strong when it came to things he believed in.
Colleagues also remember him as a Razorback playing football at Arkansas with now U.S. Senator John Bozeman.
Governor Sanders ordering flags at half-staff and says she'll soon appoint an interim senator until voters fill the seat in next year's election. Happening now, local smoke shops are pulling disposable vape products off of their shelves as Act 590 takes effect this week. The law targets cheap overseas products, mainly from China, by requiring manufacturers to secure a spot on an approved registry. State Senator Jonathan Dismaying introducing the measure earlier this year. Vape makers must show clearance from the FDA before their products can be added to the list. That makes unlisted disposables illegal here in Arkansas. Store owners across the natural state have been adjusting their shelves and warning their customers in advance of this week's deadline.
We haven't had any disposables in probably 2 or 3 weeks, and we've been trying to make people make the switch. We've been really busy with people because gas stations, they don't sell pod systems and juice and cools and stuff like that. So it's been really good for us.
At first, shop owners pushed back, worried all their products would be banned, but a loophole allows refillable pens to stay on the market, leaving owners cautiously optimistic. Now, businesses face penalties starting on November 1st if uncertified products are still being sold.
The first round of checks from Arkansas's new data match program are to go out this week. Auditor Dennis Milligan's office says more than $700,000 worth is being mailed to people with unclaimed property. Things like uncashed checks you forgot about, or deposits or insurance proceeds. The new law requires the office to send checks automatically if someone's identity can be verified through multiple sources. Payments range from $50 to $5,000. However, anything above that amount still requires a claim.
In a THV 11 update, a Missouri woman accused of kidnapping and killing an Arkansas mother and her unborn baby is now ruled fit to stand trial.
A state psychiatrist found Amber Waterman is competent, clearing the way for her case to move forward. She's charged in the 2022 death of Ashley Bush and Ashley Bush's unborn child.
Chief Deputy Prosecutor Joshua Robinson says the next step is jury selection, a more extensive process since this is a death penalty case.
Everything gets slowed down in a death penalty case because we want to be sure that we're getting everything right and we're paying attention to all the details. The doctor determined that she was in fact fit, could understand what was happening and participate in her own defense. So today the court found her to be fit to proceed.
Robinson also says the victim's family is finally starting to see the justice they deserve.
A Benton County judge has set a motion hearing for January 21st and a jury trial for April 7th. Time now 6:05. The Trump administration is stepping up its fight against drug trafficking. Tuesday, President Trump announced that a U.S. military strike in the Caribbean killed 11 narco-terrorists on a boat carrying illegal drugs bound for the U.S. The move comes as the Navy ramps up its presence in the region as well. CBS correspondent Jared Hill has more.
Video posted by President Trump on social media shows the moment he says the U.S. military took out a boat headed from Venezuela to the U.S. filled with drugs.
We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And these came out of Venezuela.
The strike in international waters on a boat the administration says had members of designated terror group TDA, or Tren de Agua.
As long as those vessels are in the region and as long as the president's in the White House, he's made very clear he's not going to allow the United States to continue to be flooded with cocaine and fentanyl.
The move comes after the Trump administration recently doubled the bounty to $50 million for information leading to the arrest of Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, alleging he had ties to drug trafficking, which he denies. In recent weeks, the Pentagon has been surging battleships toward the coast of Venezuela, including 2 destroyers, a guided missile cruiser, and the Iwo Jima, carrying more than 2,500 Marines. The ship specifically designed to move large numbers of forces onshore if needed. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, when asked if the U.S. plans to act against Maduro on Venezuelan soil.
I'm not going to speculate about what might come down the road.
The Trump administration has not called for formal military intervention in Venezuela, but Maduro's government has urged civilians to join militias in case of external attacks. Jared Hill, CBS News.
House lawmakers are holding a news conference this morning with some of the victims of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, pushing to make more investigation files public. Yesterday's release of over 30,000 documents offered little new information, leaving members of both parties frustrated. The files include victims' interviews, flight logs, and the missing minute from the jail video the night Epstein died. Lawmakers are now trying to force a House vote to release additional records. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he'd rather the DOJ handle the case, while lawmakers concentrate on other priorities, like passing the budget before the month ends. Meanwhile, President Trump is doubling down on crime, saying he plans to send the National Guard to Chicago and is considering federal troops for Baltimore, which he described as a, quote, hellhole. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker pushed back against the move. The president didn't give a deployment date, but said he has an obligation to address the city's violent crime. The announcement follows a federal judge's ruling that the administration broke the law when it sent National Guard troops to Los Angeles during immigration protests. The White House says it will appeal.
Now let's check in with meteorologist Tracy Bean and the forecast to help you plan your day.
Well, we do have a flash flood warning for portions of Pulaski County and Lonoke County for some storms that pushed through earlier this morning. Those are out of those areas, but we're continuing to see it push to the southeast. So if you're in Stuttgart, Ulm area, DeWitt, make sure you are staying weather aware this morning, especially on those roads. But here in central Arkansas, we're going to see potentially some of that rain as we're heading into the 6 o'clock hour, but then plenty of sunshine headed our way. Looking for a high today in the upper 80s. And we are talking about a weather impact alert that I have issued for Saturday. That is mainly just to keep you aware. Of course, we've got the big game coming on. I want all the fans for the Razorbacks and the Red Wolves to make sure you're staying safe and just be prepared to have a good time. So we'll talk more about this coming up in a few minutes and just let you know what to expect. And taking a look at your traffic here at 6:09, we're taking a look at the 430 River Bridge. A few clouds lingering there, but we're starting to see that sunrise just a little bit. Most of that rain, again, is off to the northeast of the metro, pushing to the southeast. So otherwise, looks like things are dry, but roads are going to be wet in those rainy areas. So again, take your time this morning. Central Arkansas, you are looking good. No accidents, no delays.